Peace and divine blessings, family and friends, gods and goddesses, kings and queens, devils and haters alike. I affirm that my message reached one person and touched the heart and the minds of one subscriber. My name is Isa Ali. Welcome to my channel. Sacred Wounds, where my wounds become my healing power. Today I want to talk about something that some of you guys may not be aware of, and some of you guys may. We all have a past, we all have a history. I want to talk about my prison experience. Not everything, but just a few things. I want to talk about how prison actually saved my life by changing my life and some of the things that I learned from being incarcerated. Now, don't you dare judge me and say, oh my God, he's been locked up before. Some of you motherfuckers are still locked up and you're not even behind bars. Anyway, listen to this whole video and you will get something out of it. Now, most people think that prison is a place of punishment, and it is. Let's be 100% transparent, authentic. It is. But for me, prison became a place of awakening, almost like a sacred classroom. And that's where I started to really realize that my soul was screaming and yearning for enlightenment and growth and spiritual awakening, where the deepest part of me in prison, yes, it was stripped away. And I became face to face with my soul. I became face to face with who I really am without drugs, without alcohol, without women, without mommy, without daddy, without homeboys, without guns, me. Now, you guys know that I didn't grow up in stillness. I didn't drop down from heaven. I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in chaos. I grew up in addiction, abuse, pain, the streets. And by the time I entered prison, I was angry. I was lost and I was hardened. I was wounded and I was hurt. But here's the truth. You can't run from yourself in a cell. I wanted to go home so bad. And the noise outside disappears when you're in prison. All you have is the memories and the noise in your head. And all you left with is your mind, your own sound, your own conversations, your own silence. And the silence was terrifying for me. I remember my first day after I got my time, and I was in the courtyard. My first day in the courtyard. A guy ran past me while another guy was behind him chasing him with a knife this long in broad daylight. And he stabbed him in the back 2 times. Bam, bam. And I was like, what the fuck, where am I at? I could not believe what I saw. And that was a rude awakening that I am in a dangerous place. It was like a place where time stood still. The jail that I was in, they called it Castle Grayskull. It was the old jail. They called it the old jail. Have you ever seen the old cartoon character called He-Man? I am He-Man. And he came out of like a castle, it was a great skull. That's how the old jail looked. It was old and it was a jail, a prison. And I saw that and that really rocked my world. In prison, I will say that I learned some things about myself, and some of these things that I learned, I evolved into be a better man because I went in prison and I locked up when I was 17, turned 18 while in prison, and I came home when I was like 26. So I grew up in prison. And some of the habits I would have to say were good habits that I learned. For example, when I was home before I went to prison, I didn't make up my bed. I got out of bed, put my clothes on, and hit the streets. In prison, they make you make your bed up every day. So I would make my bed up every day. And guess what? I still make my bed up every day. Shower at night before I go to bed. In prison, that was something that I did. That was a practice. You know, some people will wake up and go to work for 8 hours and come home and put their pajamas on and go straight to bed. Yeah. In prison, I learned to wash my sheets and my clothes every week. You know, there are some people that don't wash their sheets but once a month. After, mind you, they go outside all day on the weekend, maybe nature, maybe the gym, and they come home and put their pajamas on. But I'm not one to judge. Each to their own. Me personally, I don't do that. So in prison, I learned to take showers at the end of my day, make my bed up every morning. Another practice and habit that I do is I exercise. I still exercise daily, every day, yes. And read. I still read every day. In prison, I meditated. It became awakening. This is the habits that prison taught me. I'm only sharing my experience. An experience that eventually became sacred. Yes, there was no light from heaven, that no grand moment that I woke in prison. It was a process. It was a slow, quiet shift. Meditation, reading, asking questions, inquiring. And I remember sitting on my bunk, my back against a cold wall, and I just started breathing. And I was in meditation, and I meditated for almost an hour, and it was still and quiet. I felt so much freedom. Yes, I said it. In prison, I felt freedom. The moment of stillness, it basically cracked me open, and I was like, yes. And I started praying, and I knew that my life would not be the same, regardless of what I did when I came home. But it still wouldn't be the same because the process had already started. And you watch some of my past videos, you'll know that the process is not always straight up. It can be up, down, straight process. But today, I'm grateful for my journey of being incarcerated for that long. I don't regret nothing, and I'm not ashamed of anything because it made me the man that I am right now in front of you today. Not because I knew how and when change was going to happen, because my soul was crying out for something more back then. I kept reading. I started reading more books on spirituality and religion. And yes, I was involved with Islam. I love reading history and psychological books. I always enjoy reading for books of internal transformation, things that make my mind better. I always enjoy teaching and sharing knowledge. This is who and what I am. This is why I came here on this planet, is to teach and share. But my soul journey was supposed to be through the school of hard knocks. And I wasn't supposed to be where I am at an early age. I'm supposed to be where I am at this age. And I am right on time. And the more I read, the more I realized that I am not my past. I'm not my crime. I'm not broken beyond repair. I am spirit, having an earthly experience, learning, unfolding, and becoming. And if this is true for me, it has to be true for you also. Prison taught me how to sit with myself. It taught me how to be civilized and think for myself. I don't regret my street experience because my street experience gives me the ability to see and know bullshit. And it protects me also with instinctive nature. Now, I'm not advertising that everyone should go to prison and this is what you will learn when you come out. You'll be this, you'll be that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm only sharing my experience, and I want you to understand how my experiences has shaped me, and also how it has allowed me to actually walk through the tunnel of darkness with my wounds. And I learned that stillness is not a weakness, it's a power. I've learned that sharing your wounds is not a weakness, but it's a power. I learned that being courageous and accepting and embracing your shadow and dark side, it's not weakness, it is a power. That power is within me now. And in them years, them days, them hours, them minutes in the cell, I created a temple within and didn't even was realizing it at the moment. A place of meditation, a place of writing. I still have some of my prison journals. A place of crying and disappointment, embracing the acceptance of now. A place to remember where I am and who I am, who I truly am. Yes. It took me a minute to realize all this, but I'm realizing today and now. And I want to share this story with the world. I want to share this story with you, the listener. I didn't leave prison the same way I walked in the prison. I went in as a boy and I came out as a man. I came out as a wounded man, a wounded healer. I left with spiritual muscle, spiritual clarity, more intelligence and purpose. And now I share my journey with you, not to glorify my past, but to honor the transformation in the process. And mind you, again, I didn't get it perfect because I went back to prison. You watch some of my videos, I tell that story also. I didn't get it perfect. I still had wounds I had to work on. But today, right now, yeah, I feel good. I was telling one of my coworkers today, no, not today, I meant yesterday, because most of them either smoke weed or drink, and I don't do none of that. And I was thinking yesterday that, man, I don't smoke weed, I don't drink, I'm abstinent. And you know what? I feel damn good. I feel good. I like who I am today. I love who I am today. It feels better than any weed or alcohol or being in between a woman's legs. I feel good. I do. I love myself. You could begin the same journey. You could begin the same transformation. This is why I share this with you. How prison saved me. How God met me in silence, in the turmoil of prison. And now I offer you my wounds to help heal you. If you're hurting right now, if you feel stuck, forgotten, or ashamed of your past, I see you. I see you. There's a power inside of you greater than your pain. Your wounds are sacred, and your stillness and your courage to feel it is your doorway back to your truth. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to Sacred Wounds for more stories, meditations, and soul healings. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. And even in your darkest hour, Spirit still speaks. I love you. Peace and blessings.